Doghouse Racing League is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen, open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bars. And don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Are you looking for sports merchandise for your favorite teams, apparel, jerseys, headwear, hard goods, and looking to be involved with NASCAR? Fanatics is your one-stop shop. Fanatics is partnered up with all major professional sports leagues, as well as hundreds of collegiates and pro teams. Join them now at Fanatics. And if you use the link down below in the description, you'll be able to help out the Doghouse Racing League. While using that link, all commissions go to the Doghouse Racing League, which helps fund prizes and goods for the drivers out on track. Thank you so much for Fanatics, and enjoy the show. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Thursday night as the drivers for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series get prepared for race number 11 of the 2024 Season 1. After coming off a very chaotic finish to Richmond, admins were able to slot in where drivers were supposed to finish. And after that, they're ready to have some fun at the Super Speedway monster of Talladega Super Speedway for the Adam Looney Foundation 200 here tonight. Head on over to adamlooneyfoundation.org to get more information. We'll talk more about Adam Looney's Foundation later on in the race, but tonight is going to be a fun one to watch. Talladega Super Speedway racing side by side, sometimes even three wide here at Talladega. We're going to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up the booth is going to be Zach Hall. Zach, coming off of last week, a race finishing under yellow, a little bit of complications on how it officially was going to end, but I think everyone's excited. They're heading to a track where it's going to be a lot more absolute on who's going to be the winner here tonight.
That it will be. It's going to be very interesting to see what people have brought here to these, second technical restrictor plate of the season. So this is going to be a place where we'll see, does anybody have anything for twisted axle? Because I look back to Daytona and they had such a stranglehold on the field that, will this track play into different suits for other people's setups, or will this track open up the racing more? So we'll see how it works out. But Daytona, they definitely had the stranglehold on the field there, Sam. And I'm interested to see if that continues over here to be a trend.
They certainly did have a stranglehold. And if you want to go into more detail about that, Twisted Axle led 78 of the 83 laps during that race. And Adam Gardner, he swept the whole entire speed week for that race, getting the pole, winning the fun race, winning the actual race, and leading the most laps. Adam Gardner's hoping for another dominant run, but also his teammates are in a points hunt between themselves, being Andrew St. McCourt and as well Kevin Thompson. Those are the two heavy contenders for the championship this season. Another team to watch out for going to be Elite Southern Motorsports, as they are all getting prepared for tonight's race. Practice is still underway. Got a minute left before tonight's qualifying starts. But Zach, I know for the drivers, they got a very stiff warning. Practically the whole entire league are on probation. The race admins not happy on the fact that we've had so many cautions. Everyone has been told, clean up the racing, or we might be making some cuts. So drivers, we might not be seeing some of those big moves that we've seen at past Super Speedway races, because everyone's going to be playing a little bit neat and tidy, making sure they're not the cause of any of these cautions here tonight.
Coming off of Richmond, everybody's going to be watching themselves just a little bit. So it's going to be an interesting situation to see how it all plays out, of course, here on the racetrack and what it produces for us. But sometimes that's how it works out. You got these big fields that Doghouse have been bringing each and every week here to the racetrack. And when you have these giant fields, you're going to run into some of those issues for sure. So sometimes you have to, decide what's best for the league. And that's what they've decided, hey, we've got to clean this up. And we'll see how the drivers take to that message.
Waiting list is still even waiting for drivers to leave and exit their way out of the league or get kicked out. Sadly, we did lose one driver after Richmond being done, and that's Jeremy Richmond, actually, who's going to call it a season after outside factors had to push him out of tonight's race and the rest of the season. You had to see that for a newcomer who was finding himself, being fast, competitive. But hey, we'll see if the regulars can continue on with their speed as qualifying is beginning. Drivers here tonight getting themselves prepared for the racing action. But Zach, if we base it off of how Daytona ran, this could be an important factor to get that track position here early on.
It very much will. I think this race here is going to be dominated by the outside line. I think the cars that are fastest, if they can line up top, they'll really be able to make it where the guys on the bottom just don't have much of a shot, really. So it's going to be interesting. Again, it's like I said, to see if anybody's brought anything to find more speed. We've had a long progression point through a season now. We haven't had a bunch of restrictor plate races and super speedway package like this, but it's been time to prepare. We'll see if anybody's gone out there and took the time to prepare this week, because some people do come into the plate tracks like this, Sam, I know for a fact, and they just go with it. They don't really put too much effort in the setup that week. They say, hey, it's going to be more based on my driving, so I'm going to go out there and do it. But I tell you what, Twisted Axle showed, I think, the field that a good setup will really help go a long way.
Twisted Axle, has won here at Talladega 2 of the past 7 times they've been at this course, but it was back at the beginning of the 2022 season, back in 2022 season 1 and 2 is where they found themselves in the victory lane, with Kevin Thompson find himself in a victory lane, and then Andrew St. Cour in season 2 found himself in a victory lane. We'll see if maybe they can find a little bit of extra magic. We also have 2 past pole sitters of this race going to be out on track. Adam Gardner grabbed it back in 2021 for himself, and then most recently this past season, Hunter Simpson, who's hoping to be able to race here tonight, had some computer and iRacing issues. The 5 machine decided to be up on track, missed him last week. He had to disconnect right before the race started. But as drivers are clocking in their first times, we'll see who's the first driver, because sometimes they say the first lap can be the fastest lap with the way this next gen car works.
It is very interesting, and I'll tell you what, Sam, I actually got a little bit of practice myself here this week at Talladega, just to see, or really just the plate package at Daytona, just to see what this next gen car will do. And I'll say there is definitely some trickery you can do with your qualifying lap, such as cooling the tires. A lot of people will say you go very, very slow and kind of get them tire temperatures really down, and it actually produces higher speed. It's very interesting to see that tire temperature has that big of an effect. But I'm watching a few guys right now. I mean, they're just creeping around the track.
Some are creeping around for the first lap, some are for their warm-up lap. Eric Anderson's going to be the fastest driver currently, just 1 lap in for the 43, and he'll call it a qualifying run. It's a 52.842 for the 43, and it looks like a lot of drivers aiming for just a 1-lap stint. They feel like just the first lap is the faster lap to put down, and Eric Anderson still top of the board as you're seeing the shuffling of drivers moving up and down. Over 35 drivers will be running here tonight, as Harrison Whitehead's now going to creep into the top 5 as Hunter Simpson moves up to 3rd. But here's going to be last week's winner, and as well, driver who's looking for a win for himself is going to be Andrew St. Cour in the 12. He's one of those fast drivers, found himself into victory lane here, like I said, back in season 3 for himself. He's hoping season 3 of 2022, hoping tonight could be another chance for a victory in his first one of this season.
That he will be looking for that, Sam, and we'll see what this 12 can do here as he comes out of 4. This is the lap getting up the speed. Others were taking that first lap, but he was one of the drivers that took it very slow in the out lap and didn't really get up the speed till coming into the tri-oval. So I expect this next lap will be where the speed is as he drops lower here to start across the start and finish line. Let's see where he places himself. But Jamie Horn, very impressive with 3,000ths over the rest of the field and Christopher Norris.
Our top 5 drivers are all within 1/100th of a second compared to each other, as it's Jamie Horn, Christopher Norris, Bill Gentry, Adam Gardner, and David Halsey are top 5 currently. Andrew St. Cour is going to be trying his best. This second lap is going to be the go lap. He was the slowest of all drivers, over a 1.5 seconds slower than Jamie Horn on the first go-around, this time painting that yellow line, trying to stay and cut that distance while also hoping not to scrub off too much time off the exit of the corners as the 12 hitting his marks, even using the apron that you see there through the tri-oval. You got to make sure you don't graze the grass, but not enough time. He'll come up over 200 feet short, not get him across the line in time. And Zach, those are your crucial moments. You just mistime it by a couple of seconds and you're not able to get that fast time in.
Oh man, and he was, like I said, one of the guys that did this very slow out lap and mistimed that, like you said there, Sam, and didn't get that last lap in. That's going to be a heartbreaker because that would have been interesting to see where that placed him. But right now, looks like Jamie Horn and Christopher Norris going to be the front row, and unexpected to see two non-twisted axle cars up front. So maybe we've seen a little bit of difference here at Talladega.
Hey, maybe they just have that race trim set up, or will it translate with qualifying times to race times? As we are entering into the warm-ups, drivers have this time to figure out where their pit stalls in and get any extra practice for themselves. And also gives us some time to take a look at some of the standings and also schedule for the way that this league's been run so far this season. First, we'll take a look at the standings. Kevin Thompson, top of the board, and he's got a good buffer to work with over his teammate of Andrew St. Cours, 143 points over his teammate is Thompson. And especially with the way that last race went, both those drivers didn't gain much or lose a lot of points. Biggest loser, though, Michael Hayes, starting park, did not get the points that was necessary. He falls from almost having the lead last week to now down to third by a huge margin.
A huge loss for Michael Hayes there. That's unfortunate because he was having such a consistent, strong season, and now going to be well behind that leader, Kevin Thompson. And you know, there's still an opportunity there. There is enough time, but they're just going to have to mount an effort. St. Cours and Hayes to really focus on catching that Kevin Thompson, because he has been spectacular this season with those 3 wins.
I also want to give note, 4th place in points, Nicholas Schell, and 5th place in points, Nicholas Atwood. Both have been finding some sneaky good finishes here late, enabling them to be inside of the top 5 in points. And Jonathan Jennings has not been running majority of the season, or if he has been running, some poor finishes recently, so might not be seeing the champ get another one for himself. But as we take a look at the way that this season has been going down through our schedule, it's been one of those seasons where we've seen the dominance from Kevin Thompson and Jonathan Jennings, but the periodic new winners has been great to see, especially last week. Brandon Fetter Place, 2nd race of his season, 2nd race of his career with the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series, and he finds himself with a win. That was an incredible race last week we got to see.
It really was. The last 2 weeks we've got, new winners. So let's see if we can add to that list here, possibly tonight at your Talladega. And then, of course, we got Dover along with Kansas these next 2 weeks. Then we got that break, Sam, that 2-week break. And then we come right back here with Darlington, North Wilkesboro, Charlotte. Those 3 races are going to be super fun, too. So we got 6 great races really left for the rest of this season.
Yeah, it's going to be a great rest of the season, and the points are still close enough that, honestly, anyone instead of our top 5 still have a chance to be crowned the 2024 Season 1 champion. As we have a minute and 30 seconds left, this gives us time to say thank you to the amazing sponsors that we have here for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Starting things off with Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations to try out their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar. And don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. And want to say thank you to Group 6, who's partnered up with the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Rev up your brand's potential with Group 6 at every turn of the Doghouse Racing season. As your creative marketing powerhouse, we're here to fuel up your success, accelerate your impact, and steer your brand towards victory. Group 6, where every race is an opportunity to outshine and outperform. Discover more at group6inc.com. And our final major sponsor, partnered up as an affiliate is Fanatics. Fanatics has grouped up with the Shoney's Doghouse Racing Cup Series, as well as just the Doghouse Racing Leagues in general. By going down into the description, there's a link down there to purchase off of Fanatics. If you're looking to get yourself some sports merchandise from jerseys, hats, and more, Fanatics is a great place to start out. They've got you covered in so many different major sports leagues and as well collegiate teams to be a part of. Go again down to use that link in the description. Each purchase has a commission that goes to the racing league and helps fund the league all season long. Thank you again to all three major sponsors that help out the Shoney's Doghouse Racing League. As the drivers are getting prepared, warm-ups are finished, it's time to get grouped up as these drivers are ready for 75 laps. No fast repairs, 3 extra sets of tires in pit road with no stage break means we could have a race go fully clean and green. That's happened 2 times in the past 7 races here at Talladega. We'll see if we can get number 3 here tonight as we take a look at our starting grid by Group 6. Taking that pole award, surviving is the 98 machine of Jamie Horn. To his outside, it will be Christopher Norris in the 83 machine. Bill Gentry in 3rd position will find himself in the 4. 4th, we'll find Adam Gardner. 5th is David Halsey. 6th, we find Gary Floon in the 45. 7th is Eric Anderson in the 43. 8th, we find last week's winner of Brandon Fetter Place. We find Hunter Simpson, a very strong Talladega racer, going to be starting all the way back in 9th position. And Leroy Koblitz going to be finishing out our top 10.
Starting in the 11th position, it's going to be Raymond Hanneman. Alongside of 3rd place pointsman is Michael Hayes. 13th position in qualifying will go to Harrison Whitehead, with Michael Benchaka taking the 14th position. 15th is going to go to Tyler Mollett, with 16th going to our points leader of Kevin Thompson. 17th is going to be the 10 of Steve Gerber. 18th position going to be Daniel Wilkerson. 19th in qualifying going to be a 33 Kevin Brown, and rounding out the top 20 is Nicholas Schnell.
Then in 21st, we find the 19 of Nicholas Atwood. Michael Leftwich will be starting to his outside in the 22nd position for the 60. Gary Maydew going to be in 23rd in the 63. Jonathan Smith in 24th. Stephen Bonomo in the 9 machine will start in the 25th position. 26th is the 41 of Andy Cork. 27th is the 27 machine of Steven Simon. Then we find ourselves in 28th position with the 50 of Michael Dow. Then in 29th, it's the 92 of Cameron King. And finishing out our top 30 will be the 15 of Eddie Rivers. Our last couple of drivers will be in 31st position, the 31 of Eric Warman. In 32nd, it's the 14 of Mark Dumont. Andrew St. Cour, again, was not able to get that last time in. He'll start all the way back in 33rd position with Chris Leftwich going to be in 35th position. The 17 of Richmond Leclerc. Is going to be seen. Going to be Leclerc in the 17, and then Gary Armio going to be in 36. 36 drivers expected to take the green here, Zach. A lot of drivers, a lot of chances to make some big moves, but like you said, you got a little bit of a taste of what the fixed setup's like with this machine. What are these drivers expecting with this next-gen car?
It's a wild ride, Sam. Let me tell you that, folks. It has so much draft power. And what I mean by that is when you get behind somebody, it just feels like you have a magnet stuck to the car ahead of you. It just sucks you right in and pulls you right up to that driver ahead. And when you can get on the bumper, if you're aligned straight, that's the key to it. It's all about pushing the line. If you get off center, off to the left, off to the right, that's where we have problems with the pushes. But if you can get centered perfectly, some of the pushes you can do in this next gen are, cause some out of this world runs. I mean, you can hit the chip going down back straightaway with some of the biggest runs I've seen. So it is definitely, I think, going to be an interesting race, and I do think the top side is going to be the place to be again. I really think up top just seems to be a very fast place lately with this package.
our teammates going to get in line. There's a couple of big teammates to watch out for. That's Twisted Axle, Loud Pedal Racing, and East Southern Motorsports. They've got the most drivers in those teams, and they have been the fastest at every super speedway we go to. Twisted Axle's been the dominant one so far this season. But will their dominance be crumbled here tonight? We'll find out. Again, the 98 machine, Jamie Horn, going to be your top driver with Christopher Norris to his outside. And drivers told to calm down after last week. And the way that this season's been going, the race admins feeling like the racing's gotten a little bit out of hand, a little bit too many cautions that the admins been liking. They want to see this race get cleaned up. And looking to the past, this race has been a clean one. There's only been one race with more than 3 cautions. That was back in 2023 season 2. Besides that, it's been 2 or less. Could we have a caution-free race? Well, we're about to find out as the drivers into the restart zone. It's the Adam Looney Foundation 200 here at Talladega. We're green as Horn gets the better launch on the inside, but his partners nowhere close. The outside grooves got better collection, and watch that run off the exit of turn 2.
See what Gardner can do here. The winner from Daytona already trying to fight up into a top 2 position and push the 83 past the 98 here as they come through the center of 1 and 2. But it looks like now Horn finally going to have the help there as the 4 Bill Gentry all over the back bumper.
Bill Gentry just did not get through the gears cleanly, but he finally was able to get to that back bumper, trying to push the 98 machine. But currently, it's Adam Gardner trying to push Christopher Norris out of the way, shoves that 83 to the 3rd groove, and he's going backwards. No help, and it's going to be the leader of Twisted Axle on that middle groove as teammates in line. That's Gary Clune, Adam Gardner. They did not want to be the followers. They want to get right back to where they were to start out the season. That's leading the first lap goes to Adam Gardner.
Oh man, Gardner really just pulled a big move on Christopher Norris there with that said. That was huge to get, underneath that 83 and really shuffle him out and now have control, like you said, with his teammate Gary Clune and the Twisted Axle. This duo here already starting off well.
Already starting fantastic with where they're running right now. That inside groove, not a lot of space to work with. And I'm curious for Brandon Fetterplace, again, showed up 3 weeks ago and got his first taste of the league. He's been watching since almost a month ago. I'm curious if he went back and saw how dominant Twisted Axle is, and I'd be curious if we're going to see that 20 machine try to make any big moves to try to split up our top 2 on the outside. And for Jamie Horn, having Bill Gentry right behind him. Bill Gentry in the past has been a strong super speedway driver. As Ford, something to watch out for. As your fastest lap of the day goes to Steve Bonomo on lap number 3.
That's so fun to see that fastest lap pop up and kind of see where it pops up from Bonomo back in 21st. So just shows you speed all throughout the pack there. And some of the fastest ones come from farther out back. But right now, Gardner getting the good pushes from that 45 of Clune, and the inside line seems to be deteriorating a little bit, Sam. And this is what I see with this next gen package. You have to be so well maintained on the bottom to be able to fight that top. Really the only thing that can make the top go wrong is if you get a car up there that really just can't hold its lane, so to speak. So it seems right now with the cars that are up there, the strength is there.
You might be wondering, why are they so spread out? What just happened? They went 2 wide. They're almost going 4 wide and 3 wide at moments. And when these vehicles go 3 wide, you got to give each other plenty of space. Side draft, big factor that can change up these cars. And right now, with all the broken up machines, it's actually allowed Kevin Thompson find some space. And that's one of our biggest movers is Michael Menchaca up to 5th and Kevin Thompson up to 7th. That 6th machine wants to get up with his teammates as quick as possible.
Showing the speed that they have in that race car for sure already, and it's fun to see. That's the one thing about Daytona and Talladega. If you have a car, it's fast, especially, and you qualify back, it's going to be a fun race because you're going to be able to make some big moves and be able to pull yourself forward. And look, immediately you got that car down low, and look, he's pulling that lane forward.
Pulling his way forward, and will he move up to get in line with his teammates? Looks like he will not. And not surprised, Raymond Henneman, we saw this 38 back at Daytona. He was a very strong pusher, and it looks like a lot of these drivers get right back to where they were at the start of the season. Just all the strengths that we saw at Daytona continue to show here tonight as that 38 machine continues the push and shove. But a factor that we feel like we didn't touch a lot on back in Daytona, these engines you have to be careful with.
That you do. And right now, big side draft from fourth place there, Christopher Norris. And Harrison Whitehead, 36 in him. And now the 38 is going to jump out after pushing Kevin Thompson. He's going to try to get the lead himself, but big run coming from behind Christopher Norris. Are you seeing the mirror? That's the 56 of Gardner. Look up to the wall. Here they go. 3 wide, put them in the middle.
You just saw the side drafting against one another, kind of hurting that front group, and it just allowed a huge surge from that second pack and slowing down immediately. Looked like tapping the brake was Adam Gardner with how much he checked up into that middle groove. And we're right to 3 wide racing for the lead. I didn't expect this early on in tonight's race, but everyone wants to get moving forward immediately.
That they do. Look at everybody pushing super hard. Hanneman gonna kind of push the 56 off the nose and now make the big move. Here comes Christopher Norris. What does he do to the 56? Because the 56 kind of shoved him out to dry earlier. Do we see a similar case here being played out, or does Christopher Norris pay back, by just hanging out here with him? But the 34, Menchaca, look at him. Like you said, he's been making his way through.
Making his way forward, and Menchaca already going to be up multiple positions from where he started, up 8 spots from where he started here tonight. Kevin Thompson up 13. Raymond Henneman, who's leading this race, up 10 spots, and just proving Daytona, at least it still has the factor that we're seeing here early on, that it doesn't really matter where you start. You can make some big moves forward, but as I say that statement, though, there's only one driver that qualified outside of our top 20 that is up front still with the lead group, and that's going to be Jonathan Smith. I can take that back. Actually, second driver, Steven Bonomo, still attached to this lead pack, as we have 2 defined groups from our top 20 to all the way back to 21st on back.
That we do. I think it's just 2 different mindsets right now. I think they see this group ahead of them, this second pack right here. I think they see that pack up ahead and they go, you know what? That doesn't look very safe. So we're going to hang out for now and ride it out. So sometimes this is a very good call. Sometimes this is actually put you in more trouble. So it's really one of those situations you just got to figure out. But I think something big happened up front. Hanneman went from the lead now to losing that pack.
Yeah, Hanneman just did not get a good run off the exit of the corner, went straight to the apron and kind of spooked a lot of drivers, and forcing the pack to kind of disperse for a quick moment and staying attached will be Hanneman, but I think he might be in a danger zone of losing the lead draft, that lead pack. So from the lead, might be falling to the clutches of that second group just as quickly, as we're seeing stuck in the middle. It's Michael Menchaca, no friend, stuck in the sucker hole, and going backwards is the 34.
That he is. That's the worst place to be in, especially when you got 2 well-defined lines on either side of there. So tough break for the 34. We lost some track position, but went back and looked at it. It was from the push of Harrison Whitehead through the center of the corner. But Raymond Hanneman got a little bit too much of a push from that 36, and it got him sit sideways. Great save, of course, but he had to settle now for being in the 29th position in that second pack. But look at this. Menchaca, he got, sucker hold back, Sam, but he's like, nope, I'm going to try to go forward once again as everybody's starting to line up on the bottom now.
I mean, that is already showing from a team. Yes, there was a mistake from Hanneman and Whitehead making that big bump that kind of shuffled Hanneman out of the way, but Hanneman as well as Menchaca, Whitehead, those are 3 teammates from the Street Limit Racing team, and already proving that team, they are very strong at pushing and getting drivers moving forward. We'll see if they can continue on as Menchaca now going to be second driver on the outside groove currently. See if he can push Christopher Norris to be that lead pack, as the 83's been trying to be the leader. A lot of drivers have been working with this 83 machine though.
It's pretty quick right here. I mean, at Daytona, he had some issues where he didn't get to, race with a lot of these guys, and now we'll see if the 83 has brought any speed here to the super speedway tracks. But Menchaca, with a big push, has been able to pull this line up here. That's impressive to see from these guys on the outside.
And also been watching the telemetry. This lead pack, they're not completely safe. They had over a 3-second gap building over our top 20 to the second group. Well, it is now shrunk to less than 2 seconds because of the side-by-side, 2 wide, 3 wide racing we've been seeing up front, and kind of these aggressive side drafting moves can hurt some of these drivers. As we take a look at the weather conditions for tonight's race, as they're still bickering back and forth on who's going to be up front. Air temperature 78 degrees, but that track temp 102 degrees, and the wind swirling slightly. Something to keep our eyes on. Tire wear is not usually something we talk about with these next gen cars though. tire wear seems to be a lot more of a talking point later into a run.
It does. It becomes a factor late. That's what's interesting. You go about 10 to 15 laps and you really don't have it anywhere, but you end up going 40, 3 to 45 laps almost sometimes on a tank of fuel. All of a sudden, you got some worn tires, and you're definitely gonna change those things. So we'll see how that works out. Bonomo here on board with him. He's pushing the 5, I believe, is Simpson here. As Christopher Norris hops up from the lead, he's gonna hop up in front of him and block that line.
A big block, but Hunter Simpson, who's missed the majority of the season, back up front where he's felt so comfortable before, as Hunter Simpson is leading the way, a driver that has gotten the pole here in the past. He's also led the most laps in the past here at Talladega and has won. He's done all 3 major factors, and he's hoping to get in victory lane for the 2nd time here at this course. He get his first of the season, but Steven Bonomo, who was the fan favorite for that first race, I think this 9 in a very comfortable spot, being up front and focusing on giving these big pushes to keep the 5 machine leading ahead and giving pushes. Another factor we'll touch on later, because this lead pack went from 17 drivers in this lead group to now 28 to 29, in this lead pack, as everyone now is collected in the draft.
Super impressive from that secondary pack to say, hey, we gotta go catch up to them. They built up a few cars and they went. And another thing I see kind of forming up is some teammates starting to form farther back. So I see the likes of Gardner, Thompson, Core, all back 30, 31st, 32nd. They're on the very last pack of the field, about 4 seconds back. They're riding way back, Sam. So I think they feel that a storm is a brewing here.
As you can see here at the teammates working in a line from Twisted and Axel, the dynamic trio that were so impressive of how well they were dominating at Daytona, trying a different tactic. I think because of Andrew St. Cyr being so far back and missing out on qualifying, it kind of maybe it changed the mindset of this group on let's just go to the back, let's linger. Also seeing kind of the reckless driving up front that surprised us 6 laps in. That could be also a factor that maybe made these drivers think, let's change up our dynamic. Let's not lead the most laps. Let's protect this car for the end of the race.
I completely agree, Sam. I think sometimes you got to protect the car over the ego. You want to go out there, lead a bunch of laps, and have fun. That's what a lot of people forget about sometimes. When you got here and go into these races and you run them so strategically, they're almost not fun. They're so nerve-wracking, and you're just hoping things play out the right way for you. It can actually get kind of tedious, and that's why I think a lot of people just go out there and race. But it's definitely 2 different ways to take it. And right now, we've been having some fantastic racing up front, but at some point, somebody may lead to a mistake. That second pack may be looking very smart.
Yeah, and talking about the different mentalities drivers have. I mean, I know I've had races where I had Christopher Norris kind of as a spotter spectator with me, and he's just shouting in my ear saying, hey, we got to get aggressive, make some big moves. In my mind, when I was driving, thinking, you know what, we're just going to stay patient and just ride along. And so we get later in the race before we start making some big moves. And those different mindsets can really sometimes clash at times when you have teammates that maybe aren't on the same page. It looks like right now everyone in line and almost our whole entire field collectively in this lead pack. Still about 2 seconds back is the Adam Gardner, Kevin Thompson, and Andrew St. Cyr. Eric Warman and Mike Leftwich group. There is one driver all on his lonesome, about to be going a lap down in the next 2 to 3 laps. That's Christopher Simon, coming off of his 3rd place finish last week. Didn't get off the block as quickly as he would hope, lost the draft quickly. This is a helpless feeling when you are all on your own and the pack is all in one, because that means you're most likely not going to be part of that lead pack when they drive on by. They're just going to be going too fast. That's
exactly right. He's about 37 seconds back right now, so he's about 12 to 11 seconds from going a lap down. And at the rate he's running, about 4 seconds slower, that's going to be pretty quickly. So he'll see this pack very soon, and hopefully just can latch on and keep, beating the car that's the first car a lap down. I think that's got to be the goal next for Christopher Simon, to have some type of recovery, or hopefully get a yellow before he goes lap down.
I want to move up to some of these drivers that we're seeing as we look here on board with Nicholas Atwood, who's deeper in the field. Kind of just one of the last drivers in this lead pack, just in cruise mode. But Up front, they're still situating who's going to be lead driver. They've been cycling back and forth on who wants to be the pusher or the leader. But in the middle of the pack, around the drivers of Mark Dumont in 17th position, also Richard Leclerc in 19th position. These drivers in the middle of the pack, they've made some big moves from where they qualify. Both drivers qualified outside of the top 30, and now inside of the top 20. They're liking their advancement, but such an odd feeling when you're in the middle of the group. You would like to go forward, but there's no openings to make those big passes.
And this is sometimes a situation where you just gotta have that mentality, like you said, Sam, to just sit there and ride it out. You know, it's easy to get impatient in these races, and it'll bite the best of us out there when we're trying to go forward and you just put yourself in a bad situation. But right now, I like what a lot of people are doing. They're slowly, methodically trying to work their way forward instead of just getting big chunks of positions. They're slowly starting to pick them off, and it's definitely been very impressive to watch. And I tell you what, you know, we talked about multiple different packs. Well, Sam, we are one pack now because that second pack has driven right back up to them. That shows you the speed of Twisted Axle.
One whole pack and then one lone driver on his own. That is the different stages that we have currently on course, as 19 laps have been put down, a 75, slowly catching up to Christopher Simon as some drivers decided to bounce up to that third groove, being led by third place, but one driver gets shunted into the apron. That's giving Nicholas Atwood losing a lot of time and ground, and drivers also look to be collecting into one another as Atwood falls back. Also going to be Gary Maydew losing touch, and we stay green after a shocking re-entry by the 19 that looks to be costing another driver.
Atwood doesn't need this either. He's been having such a good points run all season, and now that mistake could really hurt that 19 team here heading into the point situation through these last 6 races. But just got to try to get back up to speed here and maybe latch on with each other and try to make some speed. But the one thing I'm thinking here most likely, Sam, is we could see some very interesting strategy. We're getting closer to where the pit window could start to open up for these guys to make it to the end of the race. And I think you might see a lot of drivers pit pretty early just to, you know, completely top the car off, because from what I've seen, if you are grouped up 4 or 5 cars, you can go much faster than this big grouped up pack.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a lot of big moves for yourselves. And went back, rewatched the Nicholas Atwood situation, and Zach, the initial part that sent the 19 down looked like this was massive net code that hurt the 19, that pushed him down to the apron. And then his re-entry was so aggressive, he didn't have an opening spot to move back up on track and just clips Gary Maydew in the 63, and they both get sliding and losing touch to the lead pack. You hate to see that for both drivers, but now back to the racing action on screen. I mean, 21 laps in, you're seeing Christopher Simon now going 1 lap down. This race, like I've noted before, 2 times in the past has gone caution free. There have also been 2 times where they've had only 2 cautions. One time where they had no cautions, and another time where they had 3. The biggest cautions, though, was back in 2023 season 2, 6 total cautions. A lot of aggressive racing where Justin McMahon found himself in the victory lane here tonight. A lot of similar big moves. We saw that one big incident by Atwood and Maydew, but still no caution flag as we're over a quarter of the way through this race.
These guys have been doing a great job, Sam, to keep it clean and green so far, and we'll see how long they can keep it that way. Right now, that outside lane being led by Hunter Simpson. He's been having a little bit of issues here with blinking, so hopefully that problem can go away from him. But the one person I see making his way forward, look at this, folks, up to 4th, leading the bottom lane now, Raymond Hanneman. Man, I tell you what, after that push from Harrison Whitehead to almost spin him around in 1 and 2, he has had to make such a climb back up here. This 38 flexing some muscles.
I think if it was any other driver, maybe Raymond would be a lot more frustrated. Luckily, it was his teammate that pushed him into the apron and lost all that time. But this go around is Christopher Norris giving the nod to the 38 machine, the 83, 38, pushing their way forward with having Menchaca and Whitehead behind them. I mean, Christopher Norris is kind of being a little bit of a helpful driver for those drivers from Speed Limit Racing.
It is, maybe finding some friends out there to work with. I mean, especially when you're a lone operation like Christopher Norris is out here. he's got to find people to work with, because when it comes down to it, he doesn't want to have what happened to him in the very first lap of the race with Adam Gardner, who said, "Hey, I'm not going to be sticking behind you. I'm going to be going forward." So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how many friends you can build up. But right now, definitely some strength from these drivers all grouped up together.
Starting to see that outside lane dissipate just a little bit more as these laps continue to clock down. 35 drivers took the green here tonight. One driver, one lap down, that being Christopher Simon for himself. As all the drivers continue to race on, Gary Armio was the one driver that missed out on the grid here this evening. It's still up front. It's going to be Raymond Henneman leading the charge. Outside lane, though, being led by the four of Bill Gentry, in the four machine. Trying to continue his way forward. Curious of who else maybe think about going 3 wide, or will pit stops carry over as these laps continue to clock down? I mean, Zach, this has been some great racing action, but pit stops, if you're gonna make that early stop, where would you want to be in this field to try to circle up and say, okay, it's go time to make this pit stop that could carry us to the end of this race?
It's a very valuable question. I think that's what's racking through the brains of a lot of these drivers. And personally, I'm thinking that window really opens up in about 5 laps. And now that's putting to where you're going to stretch the fuel as possibly as far as you go. I think personally the perfect window might be about 10 laps from now. So you're probably going to see a lot of people pit on lap 35. And if you can get the timing right, get to pit road and get grouped up well off the exit pit road, we've seen
trouble as the driver's going to get in trouble. It's Cameron King getting out of the way. Also going to be seen spun around is David Halsey. And our first caution of the day comes out. A couple of more drivers getting collected in of Andrew Cork. And just in a blink of an eye, we find ourselves with our first caution of the day.
Oh, what a little small incident in the back of the field here, but definitely something that'll catch you off guard real quick here. That pack is something happens. It happens quick out there, folks.
It looks to be issue right in this range of watching out for Steve Gerber as well as David Halsey, all running around one another. And right when they enter the tri-oval, just trying to make some big moves on one another. And just a small tap, and away they go. Is Cameron King getting aggressive in that 92 machine?
He is, man. I tell you what, gonna barely miss that there, but you see Leftwich down there in the 8 machine just pirouetting, and looks like he'll gather it back up. But yeah, it could have been a lot worse there, but looks like a few guys gonna come out of this with some bumps and bruises.
Let's see, touching the apron was the 92, comes into Halsey, clipping Leftwich. And just does a little bit of a 360 and points it straight. Drifts a little bit more, but luckily we're under yellow, so you can go get some fresh new rubber after that massive slide. These drivers have 3 sets to work with in pit road, and that caution-free race is now out the window, but only our first caution. We've seen low caution counts at Talladega in the past, but these drivers all have to make that decision. Pit stops. You're expecting everyone to pit here, Zach, but this certainly does change up that strategy we were just talking about of when was the optimal time to come into pit road.
It's very, very true, Sam. This is going to change a lot out there, folks, because now this is going to open up the door for quicker pit stops when that window opens up to make it to the end of this race. So I think here you're going to see a lot of people probably elect to take some tires, pack it in much fuel as they possibly can in this car. So when it comes down to about 35 laps to go, they just hit pit road, take left sides only, and a splash of fuel just to top that car off, just to have the reassurance to make it to the end. So I think here is a no-brainer to come down and get your fuel in your tires now.
Fuel tires, also going to be Michael Dowell still in pit road for the 50 machine, who got the majority of the damage after running into that of David Halsey, as drivers exiting pit road. Some just taking 2 tires now. Going to be Raymond Henneman, going to be the first driver out of pit road. But for us, we are going to step aside here quickly as we will take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more racing action. One more pit stop expected to take us to the end of this race for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Season 1 for 2024. You're watching the Adam Looney Foundation 200 at Talladega. We'll be back right after this. And we are back to Green Flag Racing. It's Raymond Hanneman going to be the lead driver, having his teammate Harrison Whitehead, and going to be Michael Menchaca working the outside groove as you are watching the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series Season 1 of 2024. The Adam Looney Foundation 200 at Talladega here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Got our first caution done and dusted, but now it's the teamwork, the team factions. How are you going to run the rest of this race? It's going to be an interesting one overall, looking at the different strategies. And once again, thank you for joining with us on your Thursday night. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. And Zach, the different strategies, they look to be massive. As we were under that commercial, drivers were making some daring pit stops, others deciding to stay out, as it looks like the pit chain is going to be very interesting when they finally decide to come into pit road.
Definitely will. This is going to be Really interesting to see how all the different strategies play with different drivers topping off here, getting a little bit more fuel in that car, maybe going to save a little fuel behind this pack even. So there's a lot of different strategies to utilize here. And we all seen the NASCAR Talladega race. They were running around the first stage half throttle, trying to make fuel numbers just to save that time on the pit road. Well, we could very well see something play out. Not the same due to the leaders probably running full throttle, but some of the guys out back, they might be very well trying to save tons of fuel as they are dicing it up right there, Sam.
They are certainly dicing it up. The one group, you guys call them a tandem, that we're watching is the 5 machine on the outside with 78 of Daniel Wilkerson. Hunter Simpson in the 5 has been just slamming on that back bumper for over a lap, even through the corners. And usually that's one of the first rules you think of if you're bumping someone. Usually don't bump through the corners, especially in the middle way of a race. It's usually on the last lap that you're willing to bump anyone willingly. Well, the 5 finally has to back off as Bill Gentry is now the new leader of that middle groove. But certainly these drivers, surprisingly, are making some big bumps on one another.
There they are, man. That link out to a bump. That almost had a few little issues there itself. So we'll see how that shakes up as the car jumping to the outside lane and jumping back in with Christopher Miller. So some big moves being made throughout this field right now to try to go forward. And it just shows you can push really hard, but you have to be careful. If you're off center, if you do it too much, it will cause issues.
Saw the team dominance at the start of the season at Daytona. It was twisted axle then. Here tonight, it's been more of watch out for the Street Limit Racing team of Raymond Handyman, Michael Menchaca, and Harrison Whitehead. Those 3 drivers have been in the control cars, willing to get very aggressive up front, but with the different strategies of drivers wanting to save fuel and others not, it's now given new life for some drivers to be up front that we haven't talked about at all here this evening, as seeing names such as, look just outside of the top 10, Tyler Millette having his chance to move forward, Kevin Brown, who's doing a lot of start and park recently, get to see the 33 and the yellow machine on the outside out on track, and the driver that was involved with the most recent caution, the 92 of Cameron King, is also inside of our top 15.
That he is. These guys making their way back up after being involved in that, so good job, and maybe using even some strategy on pit road to get a little bit farther up. But here comes a big run, and it's going to be from our pole setter, now getting pushed by Bill Gentry. Those are 2 fast cars lined up, and look at now the outside line, how fast it's going.
Bill Gentry seems to be a much better pusher than a lead driver. It's the 98 taking the outside groove, pole setter. No, he's got speed underneath that machine, and on the outside up to second, now trying to make the climb to the lead spot. Also, you can see there's that second pack being led by Nicholas Atwood, Adam Gardner, and the Twisted Axle teammates. This front group, it is go, go, go until they decide it's finally time to go into pit road. And Zach, this was right around the time before our caution flag came out that we originally were saying, hey, you can come into pit road, make your final stop of the day. Curious now, what has changed for these drivers, especially for those that topped off, that's leading this group that you see on screen of Atwood and Gardner?
They very well could be in a much better position here, folks, because we're looking at the cars that did top off back here. And what that's pretty much going to give them is an opportunity to save time with putting fuel back into the car. They're going to have a little bit more fuel, while the rest of the field's going to have to take that extra second to 2 seconds of fuel to, make sure they can make it to the end of this race. I think what we're seeing here, too, also, everybody knows it's a one-stop now. It's for sure a one-stop, and it's pretty much plain and simple. I think everybody's going to stretch it here just a little bit farther than 40 to go. Just do... Oh, no, that pushing almost went wrong there from Gardner to Atwood. It just shows you how easy that's to do when you're just back here trying to save fuel and manage stuff. But I think a lot of reason why they're doing this, Sam, though, is just in case we get some type of green-white checker there, because we do have the possibility of one.
And also something we were talking about under our commercial break was this group of drivers, majority of them, were kind of playing some games in the back half of the pack. They were part of that major second group that caught back up to our leaders. And we were thinking maybe they were learning lessons. Like we always talk about, whenever you come to a super speedway, you're always learning about how to attack, how much of a big run can you build up. think those drivers also were learning about big runs. The driver, though, got a second chance. It's Christopher Simon. Because of the caution flag that came out, he got the lucky dog. The 27 is back with the lead group and now with a fighting chance to race as aggressively as he wants. He's no longer in no man's land.
Great job just to stay in for Christopher Simon. And now, like you said, Sam, he's got a shot. He is in this thing. He's in the pack. Anybody here on this lead lap has a shot and opportunity to win. So we'll see how this works out for Christopher Simon. But you can see he's pretty much got a pretty good view of what's going on, and he could possibly be just right here riding right now. And that's what I really think he's doing for how big of, how far off the bumper he is in the driver ahead of him.
As Christopher Simon seeing Andy Cork right in front of him in the 41, and going to be Richard Leclerc on the outside for the 17. All just taking their time, settling in as we're reaching closer and closer to lap 40. And as we're kind of in this waiting period for these drivers on when they're going to go into pit road and make this push, it gives us time to say, talk about our sponsor for the race here tonight, the Adam Looney Foundation 200. If you've never heard of the Adam Looney Foundation, their mission for the Adam Looney Foundation is to provide all kids with the opportunity to participate in organized sports. It is a great foundation to help out children just to have a chance to be in organized sports, as Adam Looney was a coach for most of his life. He was born in Alabama, in Mobile, Alabama in 1990. Sadly, though, passed away in 2022 of October at the age of 32. But his whole entire life, as he dealt with cancer from 2018 until he passed away, was being a coach. He was a coach for soccer teams and helping with multiple different high schools and colleges. His biggest achievement in sporting was actually helping out the Alabama State team, that of the Spring Hill College team, going to the Alabama State semifinals. It was a great time for themselves, helping with the men's soccer team, and as well having a beautiful son named Evan in January of 2022. But sadly, cancer did take him, and family and everyone that he helped with created the Adam Looney Foundation, again, to help children be a part of organized sports. And if you'd like to go and learn more, go head over to adamlooneyfoundation.org, as it is a great place to go. It is a foundation of the 501c3 nonprofit, so all donations are 100% tax deductible for yourself. If you would like to go donate and help that foundation, again, go to the adamlooneyfoundation.org to help out and get more information. Again, today's race is sponsored by the Adam Looney Foundation 200, and you see that of Daniel Wilkerson running that Adam Looney's Foundation machine, as he's open to go back-to-back here at Talladega. And Zach, what a story it would be for that 78 machine, who's been having a very rough season, to finally make a turnaround at such an important race.
Oh, it would mean the world to him to turn it all around, and definitely with a meaningful paint scheme too. So that would definitely be what Daniel Wilkerson really needs to happen for him, because, like you said, this season just hasn't went well for him. It's just been caught up in a lot of people's issues and just hasn't been able to find what, Daniel, I'm sure, has been searching for this season. But tonight at Talladega, it presents the opportunity, and he's doing a good job right now, riding inside the top 7.
Riding inside of our top 7, and most of the field now, 41 laps are in the books of 75, and still everyone need to make one more stop here this evening. And when do you enter pit road? This looks to be the zone we were kind of talking about, Zach, where we're in the opening. You can make the decision to come into pit road now, or you can wait a couple of more laps. So the longer you wait, the less opportunities you're going to have to try to recover if you make a mistake, though.
Exactly right. That is very, very right, Sam. If you come down and make a mistake very late, you ain't going to have time to really bounce back from that. So we'll see when everybody flinches and finally comes down to pit road. But from what I'm seeing, it looks like Gary Clune in that 45 got way up high. I'm not sure if the 45 of Clune maybe pulling a high like that, Sam, and getting out of the pack. I think that might be a sight signaling. Maybe he might be going back to his teammates back there at Twisted Axle, and I think I might have just called that one.
I think you called that perfectly. It's the 45 was running about 10 miles per hour slower than what the field was. He's finally up to speed, and Gonna be able to get close in very quickly by his teammates that are just a second and a half back. And up front, seeing a lot more jostling of drivers trying to slot their way to that middle groove. Third lane is building up. A Bill Gentry, the 4 machine, leading that charge. It looks like a lot more spacing on the inside spots as drivers trying to give openings for their teammates. Get in line before we make the sign that we're entering pit road. I know I'm keeping my sights on the driver's radio as well as driver chat to see if anyone's making a signal that they're entering pit road. And, you know, it's always a nice gesture to say you're entering pit road, but also there can be a lot of chess games of drivers saying they're pitting and then they actually don't, or you try to deke someone out by waiting until the very last moment to make that indication you're entering pit road.
That's a very interesting, predicament to be in. These guys, I think, are all probably. I think half the field maybe undecided. I think other half of the field probably knows exactly what they want to do. So it's gonna be interesting to see. And one thing I would like to see is that second pack of the Twisted Axle guys who are doing that strategy of topping off. I would like to see them, and before they do decide to hit pit road, at least run up to this pack and get some time back on them just to use their draft. And that I think that'd be a valuable asset for them to do. But I think still maybe just ride and saving just a tiny bit of fuel to make that pit stop a little quicker.
We'll have to wait and see as Gary Clune has now been caught by his teammates of Twisted Axle Motorsports. We'll see how quickly they can try to catch up or if they just continue to lose touch to that lead pack as drivers in front of them, though, continuing to swap back and forth is the middle of the groove. From about 13th on back, still side by side, but up front, they're all starting to single file. This is the indication pit stops are soon to be underway, because then usually when you see everyone get in line, it's a sign of either we're calming down because we've gotten too aggressive or we're entering pit road. They were already starting to calm down for the last 3 laps. It looks like this could be the sign for a pit entry, but no one said anything over the radio or in the driver chat, so they're staying still quiet on what decisions to make. It might be a silent stop of no one saying anything.
Those are the scariest ones, Sam, when people just pull dead left and kind of slow down. So looks like nobody gonna flinch this time from that front pack. We'll see. And look, yeah, here comes Twisted Axle. And I like the call to come down, or looks like half the team and the other half didn't.
This is all Twisted Axle that came in as a group. The other part of that collection of drivers were drivers that were not informed of that decision. I think Twisted Axle kind of wanted to space themselves away from any other possible distractions for their team. But 2 tires, fuel, are going to be off and rolling for themselves. Is this group of Twisted Axle first drivers to hit pit road, and the drivers that they left all on their lonesome is Chris Leftwich, Eddie Rivers, Gary Maydew, and those 3 drivers going to try their best to move forward. And also the lap car, Michael Dowell, who's 1 lap down, just trying to stay attached with the group at least to try to not go 2 laps down before the chance of a caution. But one driver makes some mistakes, and Gary Clune in pit road, black flag speeding on pit entry.
Oh no, here comes Chris Leftwich now down in the 8 machine, the 63 of Maydew there coming down. And yeah, Clune, that speeding penalty, he's still sitting in the box too, Sam, so he's gonna not be able to get back out there with his teammates.
And luckily for the Twisted Axle team, they should have at least 5 drivers in line with one another. As Andrew St. Course trying to drop back to that group, but everyone else up front still have not made their signs of the first pack to make the stop into pit road. Everyone else, though, and that second pack has already made that decision. Still very chaotic up front, no signs, and it went from peacefully in line to the back half of that pack is still 2-3 wide. No one feeling comfortable where they're at currently for that 15th back to 23rd position.
That they are not. And I'm looking at some of these pit stop times, about a 7.7 to an 8-second pit stop for most of those guys who come down. So we'll see how much time do they gain. Maybe they put less fuel in the car, because maybe this group here are going to have to take more. We'll just have to see how it plays out, because nobody up front still flinching to come down the pit road yet.
And looking at drivers that pitted by themselves of Gary Maydew and also Chris Leftwich, they look to be still fast enough to compete with the Twisted Axle drivers, so it should move up from just 5 drivers up to 7 that will be in line if they're able to stick to the draft, as They are trying their best. The lead pack, though, still in line. No signs of pit stops so far as we're inching closer and closer to lap 50. Already the first group to come into pit road caught speeding was Gary Clune, who's now 1 lap down. Frustration has to be mounting for that 45 machine that gave up track position to fall back to his teammates, then gets caught speeding. That's just a double whammy for that 45 machine.
That really is, man. That is such a heartbreaker for him, because he would have had an opportunity to have been right there with his teammates, and we know how well those guys work together. We'll see how well they can continue to work together, because I think they're going to need to if they want to pull this win off, because in the lap times I'm seeing from them, the greatest lap times here. So we'll have to really see how everything shakes out when pit stops happen, because they're running about a half a second. Well, that time is going to match the leaders, but the time before was about a half a second slower, Sam.
They need to get up to speed here quickly, especially the fact that the lead pack is right behind them. And they're within a glimpse of potentially picking up some draft help if they do not get any more speed rolling at this time. As see Atwood being the last driver in line. Atwood in a scary spot, potentially going a lap down and enabling the likes of Handyman Whitehead to try to grab some draft help and pull these drivers back if possible. But also pit stops, waiting for when they're entering is every lap, just waiting on the edge of our seats of when this lead pack going to be seeing that massive wave of drivers go into pit road. And each lap that passes on by, Zach, it's making it bigger and bigger of a sign that everyone in this group's most likely going to come down together, and that's a worst case scenario for all those drivers.
It really is. It's going to be interesting to see how they get in here. The pit road, as you see the two teammates working together out in front of this, but you know, they've been single file for a majority of this pack for a while, so I'm surprised none of them have peeled off yet to really come down pit road. You know, that was, like you said, that's usually the telltale sign of when we come to pit tracks like this, when the group's going to pit. But I don't think they're going to wait too much longer. I think it'll be very soon when these guys are pit.
Every time off the exit of turn 4, you just keep your sights on who's going to fan out into that pit entry. So far, no one making the move. And as they cross the line, 24 laps to go here tonight for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Currently, it's the teammates, all 3 of them in line leading the way. Raymond Hanneman, Harrison Whitehead, and Michael Manjaka from the Street Speed, the Street Limit Racing team, as they continue to race on. And drivers also hoping to stay up front. Our biggest mover so far is the driver that lures back in 10th place. It's the 14 of Mark Dumont, up 21 positions. He's starting to fade backwards as drivers on the outside are making some moves forward, as that outside lane got Kevin Brown as well as Bill Gentry, Hunter Hayward. They no longer want to just stay in line. I think they were expecting maybe pit stops to happen, and now it's go time for these drivers that would like to be up front and having the best track position before they enter pit road.
Lap times definitely are picking up here from this group, so everybody getting a little bit more aggressive. And you know, they could the way I look at this, Sam, is you can take this the opposite route. The only reason I like this strategy, the early pit stop strategy, is because right now, if we do get a caution, you're just going to allow St. Ford, Kevin Thompson, David Halsey, all the drivers back there, Adam Gardner, to jump the field pretty much, so to say. But right now, they could very well look to stretch this as far as they can go in fuel and just get a very much a splash, so to say, at the end and try to make that happen. But you never know. A yellow flag could be around the corner any moment here if some of the racing is starting to pick up.
Big strategies still on the line as we're inching closer and closer to just 20 laps to go here tonight. Watching some of the drivers trying to make some big moves forward for themselves. I mean, you're trying to keep yourself out of trouble the best that you can for all these drivers. But one that's kind of missed a lot of these races recently has had to force himself into starting parks. Kevin Brown in the 33, outside row, the yellow machine leading the charge here as we're inching closer and closer to pit stops. And it's great to see out of Kevin Brown, who this is one of those races we talked about. Anyone's got a chance if they can place themselves in the right situation, the right partners. They've got a chance to win here tonight. And Brown is placing himself up front on the outside groove.
Here we go. Let's see if Brown can clear that bottom lane. The 36 and 38 have worked so well together down there. But that 33 and that 4, the 4's been a very good pusher, I must say. Bill has really been on tonight. I mean, he's qualified well, and that car has shown a ton of speed, even Hunter Simpson behind him. So no surprises seeing this line start to move forward. But we'll see how this works out because that 36, I mean, he is shoveling.
Yeah, there is a lot of drivers that on that outside group that I am highly have enjoyed the way that they've been racing here tonight. And like I said, Bill Gentry has been a great pusher. Hunter Hayward's been great at pushing or leading. Also a little bit further back with them in that fifth car on the outside of the 9 machine. That's Steven Manomo's been a great driver to watch out for. But the teammates on the inside continue to fight and hold their position, but the run's too large. Kevin Brown taking the lead, but will the 33 cut down and try to stop that inside run? Looks like he'll willingly stay still high as the laps tick away. Officially 20 laps to go here tonight. And the stress for this lead pack, it just mounts up each and every lap because we know for a fact they cannot make it to the end. But based off of their times and these speeds, they're trying to save enough fuel to stretch it to a certain number. I do not know what number they're aiming for because I don't think they can save enough to make it to the end of this race.
They can't save enough, in my opinion. I don't think that's going to be available to these drivers, so to say. But I will say, ever since we've gotten double files like this, the lap time. Oh, here we go. Pit stops are happening.
And it's going to be the first group to enter pit road. A cluster of drivers, mainly led by Speed Limit Racing, entering pit road. You see the smoke. Do not get caught speeding. Already one driver has. That's Gary Clune from the first stop. This go around, everyone looks to be clean. No black flags. Now it's just into your box, hit your marks, and exit quickly.
This is going to be the key. How fast are these pit stops going to be? It looks like tires are going on, but it's left sides for these drivers. Hanneman now 8 seconds, 8.3 second stop. So about the likes of what the Twisted Axle group has done, as Hanneman will lead them off of pit road with his teammate of Harrison Whitehead right behind. And I'll tell you what, Sam, it's going to be interesting to see where it shakes out. I think that group has possibly jumped them.
It's going to be close, but I think they're too spread out as a collective group. Here comes the second pack into pit road. Going to be a little bit of a bigger group than the one we just saw. Still smoke flaring up of drivers locking in their brakes. Don't want to get caught speeding as everyone enters pit road. They're going about 190 miles per hour, and then they got to drop their speed immediately down to 55 miles per hour. Very easily can get caught with mistakes. You don't want to slide through your box. Everyone good on that second go around from this lead pack. Now it's the third. Does everyone else go into pit road, or do they stay out as long as possible is the true question. You'd think that they would enter pit road now, try to save some time. The longer you stay out with everyone trying to catch up, you're just losing too much time here, Zach, for this group. They have to pit here. If they don't, this could be a race ender for themselves as they all fan out, and it's pit road for the last group of our lead pack.
This is key, like you said, Sam, and Brown coming in super hot.
He's speeding. He got a black flag immediately. He just was going too fast for the 33.
I could see that visually. That one you could tell just was not going to work out. But tell you what, this is going to be interesting to see how it shakes through. I think Jonathan Smith is going to come out with the lead when it all does cycle. And they have built quite the gap. That Twisted Axle group way behind that group. And really where they lost a lot of time was coming out of pit road. And personally, that front group timed it well. As soon as the lap time started dropping, they got side by side. They started to get into those high 49s. They went to pit road and they used everything valuable, but Jonathan Smith is wrecking off the nose.
Smith goes down into the apron. We're going to stay green for now, but the 99 went from leading, potentially was going to be the race, to now hoping for a caution flag as the majority of Twisted Axle in the last group of drivers blast on by, as a few drivers have to enter back into pit road. Speeding, coming back in that safe pit exit for Cameron King. He's got a black flag that he's got to re-enter. And then that issue, this hurts the likes of Whitehead and Henneman, as that whole entire second pack is about to have a massive run when they catch up.
It's going to be gigantic here, led by Hunter Simpson, Bill Gentry, Daniel Wilkerson, and that likes of Tyler Martin, Steven Bonomo. run's going to be big, but also you got the likes of Christopher Norris leading the outside line with Jamie Horn. There's going to be a 2x2 line here coming, and even behind them, not too far, is going to be that Twisted Axle group coming up through. So it's about to stack up here once we get to about 10 to go.
Looking to be around 25 drivers are going to be in the hunt for this win when everyone cycles back to where they were. Currently, it's still Whitehead and Handyman having a 2-second gap lead over Hunter Simpson and Bill Gentry. But then that third pack, they're ramping up. That's the Twisted Axle group that's just about to get in line with the draft. They're just 1.2 seconds off of Eric Anderson's draft. They're about to be seeing 3 separate groups close in almost at the same time with 25, with that of 15 laps to go. It's just in a blink of an eye. In these past 25 laps, we went from maybe some guys going to have an advantage or not. It looks like all the advantages might have just gone away.
That it very well might be. It's just all going to be stacked up, I think. And the one concern I'm going to have is Hanneman and Harrison Whitehead are going to be in huge trouble once this pack catches them, because it's going to be a big run from the likes of Hunter Simpson and Bill Gentry. They just got to hang on. And if you're Adam Gardner here leading this pack, they are flying up to that second pack, and this is going to be kind of interesting because I think they're going to catch, really the likes of both of them at the same time.
The real thing is how will this first group of drivers, when they catch up to our top 2, and the second pack when they catch up, how are they each going to react? Because this run is about to be massive, as Hunter Simpson is right there on the tailpipes of the top 2 drivers. They'll bounce high, and here comes the rest of the field trying to drive by Whitehead and Hanneman, who are on their own. And when you have too good of a pit stop, you build up too big of a lead, it can hurt you. And Hunter Simpson now takes the point for the 5.
Hunter Simpson to the lead, and here comes Wilkerson, but here comes a big move from Christopher Norris. He drops low, and he's going to use the run to the inside, and we'll see where that goes because he has no help there, Sam.
No help, but behind them, they're going to be 3 wide side drafting each other. That's going to hurt the group. Oh, no! Triple strikes for the lead pack. Big moves all around. The second group's trying to slow up. They're starting to close in on that pack. Everyone trying to slow down. Pit road seems to be the safe place, but issue strike right in the middle. And it's Nicholas Shell, and I think I saw also the 9 of Bonomo caught up in this one.
Yeah, it looks like it all started around the 9 of Bonomo and the 38 of Hanneman coming off of 4 here, as we'll see. You're going to see Bonomo. He's going to go to the middle here of the 38. I think he's going to get a little bit wiggly here on the exit, come down into that quarter panel of the 38 there, even a little net code. That's going to bring them together, which hits the 58. The 20 is going to be involved, the 43, and multiple others. But Hanneman somehow straightens it out and gathers it up.
Straightens it out for the 38. And we will have this caution. It's going to be around 10, a little bit less than 10 to go. To take another look at it, with the way the 9 was drifting down into Hanneman, yes, there was net code that initiated the spin for the 38, but I think there was going to be contact either way. It's a better place gets sent to the outside wall. The 9 just drifts up, but that second pack of Twisted Axle, they had a fright of trying to react to the drivers that were backing up back on track.
They really did, Sam. It's been quite the scare for a few there, as they luckily made it through. But I tell you, it's gonna be a pretty much wildness from here on out, because we're gonna have everybody stacked up, and restarts only make every run that much bigger coming down the back straight away. So we'll see how this shakes out, but this may not be our last yellow.
I don't think so either, as this season, this is race number 11, but we've had over 5 green, white checkers this season. Last week was the first to finish under yellow. And it's been kind of that this season, where we get the late caution that gets us into this intense moment where we bring out another yellow because everyone's trying to make big moves to move up. And now we're going to have around 33 drivers on the lead lap. Majority of them still have good running cars. This is only our second caution of the day, but it doesn't look like we're going to be over anytime soon with the way that these drivers had made big moves earlier on in this race. And now with this late run, everyone scattered the teammates. Some are in line, others aren't. This is a big decision of where do you want to place yourself? Is it the outside, inside? Where do you feel the most safe to try to make the biggest surge to move forward? Well, also with the fact that Twisted Axle, because they all had to slow down because of the caution, it actually split them up on where they're going to be at right on this next restart.
It did. You're exactly right. It split a lot of them up, so they're going to have to figure their way through the pack. And I mean, it's going to be tough to form a full line and come through the pack. So I think they're going to kind of have to say, hey, man, every man for themselves, maybe try to stick together in little, duos, so to say, and work their way through and hopefully be together when it comes down to the end, because I don't know if they're going to have that ability to just get all lined up together with 12 to go with them mixed up in the pack like this. So we'll see if they can do it. And, even today, I don't know if they've had that true dominant speed. Maybe they haven't shown it yet, so to say, but we'll see if they pulled out the bag.
Well, to everyone that's been watching with us here tonight, thank you so much for joining with this amazing racing action. I know the end of this race is going to get chaotic with closing in to 10 laps to go. If you're watching on your mobile device or even on your computer, there is a clip it tool. If there's a moment in the race that you've enjoyed or a reaction from us up at the booth that you think is funny or entertaining, there is a scissors icon. If you press that, it allows you to clip that moment. You can clip up to over a minute of time in our live stream. If it comes to the end of this race or already before, you can go in and clip any of those moments during or after the stream is over. And also when the stream is over, go down in the comment section and say about what was your favorite moment of the race and which drivers are you rooting for. You can also type that in the chat now. Who are you rooting for? I know that BMAC is cheering on Twisted Axle. We've got some fans rooting on Richard Leclerc, and also some are hoping for a good win for Menchaca. Who else are you rooting for and hoping to get into victory lane? It's been really a great run for the Street Limit Racing crew, but they've now been jostled back. They've got a little bit of work to get moving forward. But Zach, I would say, yes, we think there's going to be another caution, but honestly, anyone has a chance still to win this race.
They really do, man. I mean, personally, even Clune and Dow, with them being one lap down, in 34th and 35th on the tail end of this field. I mean, we get 2 quick cautions, they can both get those laps back. So you never know. Their situation could very well open up also. So right now, 35 drivers came to the track. 35 drivers still have an opportunity to get the track. So that's in my book, is a great way to look at it. So we'll see who can, so to say, get it done. But I'm really looking at, someone like a Daniel Wilkerson, maybe a Bill Gentry, even a Hunter Simpson who's on the return here. Can they break through and get a victory? And, maybe we could see 3 first-time victors here this season in a row.
It was Michael Hayes 2 weeks ago at Texas. Last week, it was Brandon Fetter Place. And tonight, who could grab another win this season for the first time this season, or even their first career win could be possible for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. But up front, Hunter Simpson, Bill Gentry will be your lead drivers. Inside lane led by the 5 machine of Simpson. Outside lane is led by Bill Gentry. Who will have the better run? Well, it's time to find out. Pace car pulls into pit road. The Adam Looney Foundation 200 is about to be back underway as they head through the tri-oval. They enter the restart zone. It's green flag racing with just 10 laps to go. And with 33 drivers on the lead lap, it's time to figure out who's going to find themselves a better spot. As already moving up to that outside groove, it's Simpson, Wilkerson. They get the better run as they take over that top line.
They do right there, and maybe trying to get up in front of that for Bill Gentry, who has been a really good pusher tonight. So smart decision, I think, from them. But Horn, our pole setter, he's on the bottom. He's got the help of Millette. Can they make something happen? But here comes Twisted Axle. It's led by Adam Gardner and Andrew St. Cour. Those two jump out to the top third line.
They're working that outside groove. Third lane going to be utilized a lot here. Might as well use every little bit of this track. We've been 2x2 for the majority of the night. Couple of moments, we've been 3 wide, but it's going to be on the outside groove. Adam Gardner wanting to be the victor of the super speedways this season. Christopher Norris will deke out of the middle groove. Everyone's leaving the middle lane, and it's going to be giving Adam Gardner the outside lane for now. Who will move down to the bottom? It's going to be Sean Wilkerson and Simpson. They'll leave Bill Gentry in that middle spot. There's a little bit more shuffling. Chris Leftwich, who we haven't talked about since the first caution of this race, the 8 is right in the middle of all this.
That we are right in the middle of it, as so to say, Sam. And Bill Gentry is right on the back bumper in the middle of it, as it's stacked up 3 wide, about 5 rows deep right here. And right now, everybody trying to find a way through it. As you can see from this look, it's pretty clean up front, but from behind, it is not looking the greatest.
It is really not, as everyone in this pack, it is all going to be led by the likes of Twisted Axel, of Adam Gardner, Andrew St. Clair. They were the dominators at Daytona. They're going to be having Gary Maydew right behind him in the 63. And behind them, it's Michael Hayes. Hayes, who had to do a starting park last week, lost all of his points for a chance to run for a championship. He wants all these points back, but Mike Leftwich and others scatter hard in the outside wall. Caution flag is out. And this is going to be settling us with more drivers piling in, even in the further pack than our initial lead group.
Oh man, this is carnage right here. And this again, opening up the opportunity for some drivers to make it through. And I don't know, did Gary Clune want to see? He actually, yeah, Gary Clune called a piece of that. So, and even Michael Dow. So both the cars that were lapped down, they're not going to get their lucky dog back here as we try to get that replay gathered up here for the folks as they camp.
This is the second pack. It was between the teammates that got into one another, and also Dow as they kind of clipped ahead. As again, this is the second group, as this was already when the caution was already out for themselves. It was Mike Leftwich in the 60 machine. It was involved with our caution that brought out the yellow. As you see there, the aftermath of the 60 machine. Take another look at it, Zach. I mean, third lane. It's just tough out there. As there's the clip, father to son. And then it just goes up in smoke for themselves.
The family bump draft gone wrong. That was unfortunate there for Mike Leftwich, and you can see there as they keep piling in, as others will come in too, as they're wrecking behind there, Dow. And another driver I saw that was in that was the 6 of Kevin Thompson. He didn't get a bunch of damage from it, but Thompson is back in 29th. I want to take note of that, folks, because right now, Andrew St. Clair, Michael Hayes, both sitting in 2nd and 4th. If it was to end this way, they would be gaining a substantial chunk of points here tonight, and that'd be very crucial.
Bringing the fight back into the mix, as missed it right when we went on the hood cam, but they went 4 wide for a quick moment, just pinched into one another as the teammates of Thompson and also it was Gary Clune got a bad bump, and Michael Dow did not want to be patient. He ducked down, and all 3 of those drivers got pinched into one another. But those 3 drivers initially that started that wreck, all teammates of Chris Leftwich, Mike Leftwich, and Christopher Simon from Shoney's Motorsports. I hate it when it's the teammates that get into one another. But when you're in the middle of the pack, it's kind of hard to tell when those checkups are going to happen unless you have an outside spotter that's kind of letting you know, hey, we're about to check up here.
You're exactly right, Sam. It's hard to see kind of outside your bubble. That's a one way to describe it. I feel like you can see a lot of cars when you're out there, but a lot of times it's the stuff that you can't see is what's going to get you. And the way the positioning, the height, the spoilers, the deck lids, just the way the cars are and how banked the corners are, you really don't see a lot with 2 or 3 rows ahead of you, especially when it's stacked up 2 to 3 wide. You just kind of know there's cars there, and it is like playing with fire. That's why usually when you see it, it doesn't last for that long, because it's not easy to do.
No, it's not. It's one of those things where you kind of say instinct needs to kick in, and sometimes you have that instinct feeling of, okay, we need to back out of this situation, and other times it doesn't kick in for themselves. I know B-Mac in the chat saying go Andrew and Adam. They've been the lead drivers after that last restart with 10 to go. This next restart going to be around 5 to go. Who's willing to make these big moves, though, on the teammates? Because Twisted Axel getting slight damage on that most recent incident. Gary Clune's 1 lap down, also pushing back Kevin Thompson. There also is Atwood stuck in the middle. It looks like it's just going to be the 2 drivers of Gardner and St. Clair. And it looks like Gary Maydew has kind of attached himself with this group, willing to stay attached. Michael Hayes looks to be one of the only drivers, and Christopher Norris, who was up there for a quick moment. They were the only two that really were willing to make some big moves. Just no one else was following with them. With coming up to 5 laps to go, gonna be less when we go back to green flag racing. Some of these drivers need to start working together as one. Maybe you got to say it over the radio. Maybe some others are trying to, secretly message, getting prepared to making those late alliances. But this is that intense moment of you're hoping that everyone's working with you, but trust is kind of thrown out the window this late of a super speedway race.
Yeah, trust, you could throw it out, and you're trying to form alliances. You want a little bit of help, but you can't trust no one too much. If you trust them too much, they're just going to use you up, and you'll be put in a bad situation. So you got to go in here thinking it's all about yourself, and you gotta do what's best for your race team. So we'll see who's going to really risk it here, so to say, like you said, with some big aggressive moves. But we're going to have 4 to go here when we go green. And there's still a realm of a possibility of a green-white checkered, so I think some drivers here know this race is far from over.
Very far from over, as you'll late shout out to the amazing sponsors here of Shoney's, as well as Group 6 and Fanatics. You can find out more down in the description for Fanatics, and as well Group 6. You can head on over to group6inc.com for more information. If you'd like to go get yourself some great dining and food in the West Virginia area, go check out Shoney's. They are open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Gonna be 4 laps to go when we go green. The drivers in line gonna be Adam Gardner, Gary Maydew on the inside row. Outside is gonna be Andrew Secour and Michael Hayes. That combo on the outside so interesting, just because, like we noted on, they're second and third in points. The driver that they're trying to catch up to is Kevin Thompson, all the way down in 26th position. And for what we've seen back in Daytona, the 2 teammates in the front row, they're going to find a way to get in line. The question is, who's willing to be the driver to fall in line? Most likely, I'm expecting to see that 56 take off and move to the outside as soon as possible.
Oh, I'd have to agree, Sam. I think there's going to be some big aggressive moves being made here, folks. Everybody get ready, because you never know it. This could be the last run to the end.
Pace cars into pit road. If we get another caution before the white flag, we head into overtime for the 6th time this season. We are into the restart zone, and Adam Looney Foundation 200 is back underway. Some drivers already try to go 3 wide in the middle of the pack, but up front, it's going to be seen Adam Gardner trying to move up, and he will get in line with Andrew Secour. Here we go. It's Twisted Axel leading the outside group.
Great job there, but
contact. They're going to be sideways. Down in the apron is going to be Chris Leftwich. Trying to move back up is the 8 machine. They'll stay on the apron. They're trying to stay in line, but they'll crash into the outside wall. Quick caution. We're going to overtime. And it's the big one on the back stretch.
Oh, and it just continues on. And yeah, that was an awkward wreck right there coming off of 2. And it just seems like 3 cars just glued together. Looked like it was Maydew, I believe, Hanneman and Horn. This is maybe Maydew kind of coming up into those drivers on the exit here. I think we'll get to see it, because man, this is quite the stacking.
It was just, sorry, that was actually going to be the 94. Excuse me, that I saw that red machine that went onto the apron of Tyler Millette, and Maydew just kept creeping up. And those 3 drivers you see run into one another, go slam it into the outside wall, and all 3 require damage: Maydew, Horn, and Hanneman.
Oh man, that is such a heartbreaker for those drivers, and that's gonna bring it into their night here a little bit earlier than they were hoping. And even like to Hanneman, I mean, what a race he ran tonight. He led some laps, did a very good job pushing once again, but was caught up in a simple incident like this. And you see Maydew trying to come and block that line, but just couldn't get there. Once they connected, they stuck together, and they couldn't get off each other once. And you can see the collisions taken after that.
And I know for the admins, this is one thing that they were hoping to avoid after last week at Richmond, which was the 5th time this season we've had to go into overtime. This will be the 6th here this evening. Is that they were hoping to lessen the caution flags, maybe get a little bit more of Green Flag Racing, which we got here tonight. This is only our 4th caution and going to be the last one. We got to get our 5th that could end the race, similar to last week, but 4th caution, this kind of looms perfectly in the middle of what Talladega has had in the past. We've had anywhere from 0 caution races to 6 slots right in the middle. This is luckily you could say typical what Talladega can bring late here at the super speedways.
It is. It's definitely typical for Talladega, man, and it's been nonetheless to say interesting to watch. And I think right here this sets up a very interesting finish for us here because again we saw the leaders there. Gardner, he kind of early jumped that restart to well, he didn't jump the restart. Sorry, I want to rephrase that. He just went earlier in that box. Normally you're going to wait for the green flag here at these play tracks so you don't get that big jump. He just goes a little bit earlier in the box, is able to jump out in front of his teammate Andrew St. Cyr. They get lined up going in the 1 and 2. So that seems to be the plan for them. If I'm the car starting third, such as Michael Hayes here, I'm not allowing that to happen there, Sam. I got to be on the back bumper of that 56. When he goes, I need to be going also. So, at least there's some kind of fight back to that.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to set up for this best restart. This is the last one of tonight. We only get 1 attempt at overtime. These drivers will have a green, white, checkered through 2 laps to go. And we go green. If we get a caution under the first lap, then we will finish this race under yellow. If we get the white flag, it's gloves off. Whoever crosses the line next will win the race. And looking at past winners here at Talladega, there have been 2 winners of drivers that only led 2 laps. That was back in the season 2 of 2022 and last season, where Kevin Thompson won back in 2022 season 2, only leading 2 laps. And then last season was Daniel Wilkerson, who only led 2 laps. All the other ones have been drivers that either have led the most laps or have been the second most laps led by a driver. It has been a high volume of if you lead the most or close to the most, you're the driver that wins here at Talladega. But I think all of us know you're not safe where you think you're going to finish, especially if we take that white flag. No one is safe to say that they're going to win this race, especially the way that Talladega, the fact that it's not the middle of the tri-oval, it's after the tri-oval, when we see that end of the race finish line, which can change up so many finishes. I mean, Zach, yourself, you've been a part of very close finishes here at Talladega. We've seen 2, I think even more than 2, maybe even be 3 identical crossing the line finishes. 1 here at Talladega. Who knows, it may happen again with the way that these cars have been racing back and forth with one another here tonight.
You're exactly right, Sam. And I want to go back to, Bill France Sr. when he decided to build Talladega after, they built Daytona. They wanted to have another super speedway, so to say, here themselves, and NASCAR had. And what a fine job they did on it, just to, make it a little bit bigger, being 2.66 miles itself, but also that start-finish line like you brought. That does add so much of an effect to it, having that longer run down to that finish line. It allows more opportunities because a lot of things happen off of turn 4. That's usually where you're going to see it. A lot of the moves sometimes made because it needs to be that late to sometimes be able to hold people off, especially at Talladega. But at Daytona, you'll see sometimes if you try to make the move off 4, it's almost too late. So it's definitely different here at Talladega, and it sets up for quite the finish that we've seen in the past. Wouldn't be surprised. We could be very well coming down to one of those hopefully here soon.
And also, talking about this being the last attempt at a restart here tonight, that yellow line, you cannot advance your position under the yellow line. You have to pass someone in the regulation zone of the wall to the yellow line. That is free game. Anything underneath, if you advance your position, you can be penalized. So these drivers know the kind of court that you're playing on. With Adam Gardner, Andrew St. Cyr, they've been in this same situation of being up front late at a super speedway, and it was Adam Gardner that took the win all the way back to start the season off at Daytona. He's hoping to sweep the big tracks of Daytona and Talladega this season. It's time to find out who will be winning the Adam Looney Foundation 200, the last restart of the night, your 1 overtime attempt It's right here, right now. If we get the white flag, we race it to the end. If we did caution before then, the race is over under yellow. Into the restart zone. The teammates of Twisted Axle take off. Adam Gardner gets rolling. He'll move up to the outside lane after he crosses the line. And here we go. It's free game as Michael Hayes tries to get the run on the inside.
Great job by Hayes. Look at this. This is going to open up the door now as look, the two teammates go all the way to the top and they can't get back to the bottom because Bill Gentry has closed or has opened that door, and now Kevin Brown pushes him through it.
It's going to be a total of 7 drivers in this lead group. Watch out for the surge from 8th on back. They're going to be deciding, do you go to that outside wall, the middle groove, and it looks like everyone's picking the wall, or the inside. The middle lane is falling backwards. Bill Gentry, Kevin Brown, they've got no help, but it's going to be Adam Gardner as well as Michael Hayes going to be the lead driver. So we get a caution before the white line, before they cross the finish line, and they're already wrecking. It looks like it's going to be over. It's going to be between Gardner and St. Cor, and it's Gardner taking the win. As the yellow flag flies, they wreck through 3 and 4. Gardner once again in the right position at the right time, and it's the teammates 1-2 of Adam Gardner, Andrew St. Cor, and Stephen Bonomo stealing away 3rd. But we'll wait until they officially slot themselves in, because this was the same issue last week. Drivers weren't in the right positions and they got disqualified at the end of the race. They have to get in line, but here's what ended the race: trouble in the middle of the field.
This is what's going to bring it into our night, and looks like it's just a bad push there. I'm not sure from what car to Tyler Millette it was, but man, look at the hit Atwood took. It's just some big hits there, and unfortunately the yellow flag had to fly there, Sam.
Had to fly, and Tyler Millette just was never given a chance to run this thing out. As see that Bet MGM trying to roll in, seeing where Tyler Millette, again, I think it might be the 15. Yeah, huge bump, just ships Millette down, and we're not coming to the white we're coming to the white flag, but you can't be just giving someone a bump like that. And ultimately that contact gives the 56 and the 12 the 1-2 finish, as the drivers now are exiting out of turn number 4, and the drivers have been notified. If you find yourself being disqualified during this end of the race formation, you will not get your position back like they did last week. Last week was a one-time deal. Everyone has to stay behind the pace car until they enter pit road. And for Adam Gardner, he knows exactly where he's going to stay. Same for St. Cor. And it's going to be Michael Hayes taking that 3rd place position as they cross the line. Congratulations to Twisted Axle. Gardner is your winner for the Adam Looney Foundation 200.
Great job by that 56, man. What a knack for these super speedways. That, first off, that team at Twisted Axle, so great. The speed they show here every time they come to a super speedway. But man, oh man, the teamwork there between those two to get up front and Gardner to get it done. And Gardner going to pass the pace car. Which the lights did go off on the pace car, and that is a key factor, I will say. Once the lights go off on that pace car, you should be good. That means everybody on the field has crossed the start-finish line. You should be good, but I think a few of these guys are a little bit more cautious.
Well, they've been informed. They were informed by the admins. They have to follow the pace car. Even if the lights go off, they have to follow the pace car until they enter pit road. Well, the teammates, they just took off, and they're not going to get penalized by iRacing. Like I said, the pace car lights are off. They're good to do that, but admins have told drivers, you must stay behind the pace car. So for Adam Gardner and Andrew St. Cor, they're going to just pull it into pit road. Andrew St. Cor's already pulled off the track, but they're going to enjoy the fun. As for us, we will step away. When we come back, we'll talk to our top 3, Adam Gardner, Andrew St. Cor, and Michael Hayes, and a spotlight driver right after this. Decided to stay out. Drivers are just leaving now, topping off on fuel. Were drivers that were part of that also earlier pit stop. GT Rosari and Travis Everett can just top off on fuel. Holy Fonseca back on track. Gonna be back in 10th place for the 24 machine. As the drivers get out there on course, we'll see if we can actually talk to the 24 machine of Ollie Fonseca, get his thoughts of becoming our Morecast stage winner. We'll queue up that 24 machine. Ollie, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, Ollie, stage winner, took the gamble under our first caution of the day, taking tires, and it's worked out perfectly for yourself, man. How are you feeling out there on course, being our stage winner, but going to be starting in the middle of the field?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I was able to rebound after my horrendous mistake there. Man, that was rough. I just felt like I got the air taken off the spoiler there. I think Cody kind of tucked up behind me, and I don't know, I just lost it. And credit to all the guys around me for saving it there. And minimal damage. I think we're going to be just fine. So yeah, I took those tires, drove through the field, got that bonus point for the playoffs, so that's always good. So yeah, we drove through there once. I think we can do it again.
Definitely was a impressive drive there, Ollie. Man, I tell you what, it was fun to watch. How hard was it to bounce back from that and not kind of get down on yourself after that start? Because with so much good track position to lose it that early, how
You just gotta look at the big picture. And credit to my spotter Brandon, he does a phenomenal job of keeping my head in the game. I could have very easily let that snowball into a bigger problem, but we rebounded. Had an opportunity to make a call, made the call, drove up through the field, and got the stage win. So we're just gonna keep on being patient.
Well, Ollie, we're still waiting on the pace car lights to go off. I know tonight a little bit more of an important race for you. The floor is now yours to talk about Bobby if you'd like. Otherwise, we'll send you back to your team.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you guys so much for allowing me to do this. For Bob, I owe Bob so much. He's done so much for my career. He's taught me everything I know about fabrication and really being able to work in a motorsports program, right? And he's just such a legend of the sport. So yeah, I got the GoFundMe link on the truck. I'm sure it's probably on YouTube or on the broadcast or somewhere, but feel free to donate to him and his family for what they're going through. It's just tragic, man. And I just thought it'd be kind of cool to turn what is a hobby for me into something that might benefit him, someone I really look up to. So I appreciate you guys for letting me do this for him.
Well, honestly, congratulations to you again for being the Morecast stage winner. And we hope to be talking to you at the end of the night here, Ollie.
Thank you.
Well, that'll be the 24 machine of Ollie Fonseca. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post race show for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series for the Adam Looney Foundation 200 at Talladega. Race number 11 is in the books, and we're heading to Victory Lane to talk to the 56 machine of Adam Gardner. Adam, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Well, you took Daytona to start the season off. It only makes sense that you would take the victory here at Talladega. How are you feeling after grabbing the win here tonight?
Feeling good, guys. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that was watching. Once again, some awesome teamwork tonight by all the guys over at Twisted Axle. And some good racing overall. We had a lot of fun tonight, but yeah, I really can't say much more about the teamwork than what these guys have shown me. Once I had first Kevin on the back bumper there pushing for a while, and he stayed committed, and we had some good speed. And then he had a little bit of bad luck there and got shuffled back. But I felt comfortable once I had Andrew there with me. And it was nice. And I'm sure that move we made to get up there towards the front made it a little entertaining for people. And hopefully that was fun. It had me by the knuckles for a second.
definitely was a white knuckle move for sure there, Adam, as you guys came up there against the wall past everybody. And first off, congrats on the second win of the season there, man. I mean, such good results so far on the super speedways, and you've had some really good runs even throughout the season, just maybe not had the results to go along with that. Do you feel like super speedways is your strength as a driver? Because, man, we know the cars are fast, but you definitely seem to be suiting them well too.
I enjoy them. I think if anything, it speaks more to just the whole team effort in general. We usually come into these with a pretty good plan. Just no matter what the order is, we're going to work together and just for the best overall result that we can get. And I really can't complain about that. I think that's definitely the biggest factor. Rest of the season, yeah, there's been some bad luck there to spoil the finishing results, but overall, I really can't complain. I've been having a lot of fun so far.
Yeah, the bad luck has been terrible to see from our end at you, Adam, and we're hoping that maybe these next couple of races are going to reward you with some of the great speed you've been showing. We're heading to Dover and Kansas before we have a 2-week break. What are your thoughts on these upcoming racetracks that we have before our break time?
Dover, I have a love-hate relationship with it. Not the best average running position, I guess we'll say. But when it comes to things working, just kind of working out for me, for some reason, it just always happens there. And I have a great track record as far as finishing results, even if it wasn't the best during the race for whatever reason. Kansas, one of my all-time favorite tracks. So really looking forward to that. But as far as tonight goes, yeah, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna call up the people over there at Bay State Limousine, get ourselves a limo, go jump on in, take a ride over to Jameson's in Hampstead, and party up with the Twisted Axle boys.
Sounds like a great time, Adam. Well, congratulations on this win again. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any more shout outs.
Just gonna thank everybody for tuning in to watch. Definitely makes it a lot more fun knowing that everybody that's watching is enjoying it as much as we are doing it. Appreciate you guys for putting on the broadcast. They're always fun to watch back. Daniel for getting together and putting this on, all the guys that come out here, and then yeah, like I said, now all that's left to do is go ahead, call Bay State Limo and jump in that limo, have some fun.
Well, enjoy your party, Adam, and good luck in these next two races for the until we get to that break.
Sounds good, guys.
Well, that will be your winner here tonight for the Adam Looney Foundation 200 of the 56 of Adam Gardner. As we move away from victory lane, we head down to second place where we bring up his teammate in the 12 machine of Andrew St. Cours. And Andrew, once again, top 3 finish. You're just always there at the end of these things. How are you feeling, though, after a very solid run for yourself, even though qualifying didn't go the way that you planned?
Yeah, proud of the run tonight. Very happy for Adam. Really, I always take a lot of satisfaction in helping a team make it to the win, and was happy for him. Happy that we were able to bring that home. Qualifying, yeah, I messed up on my initial attempt on my qualifying, and when I reset, I went back out, and I was about 2 seconds short. Or ran out of seconds. I ran out of time about 2 seconds before my lap would have counted. So then I just had to dig down and dig deep and just be patient. And it wasn't the run that I was looking to do or have early in the run, but a few of us kind of worked together for a good part of the run just to kind of stay with the pack and really just tried to keep it clean to the end. So until we had that opportunity to move up front.
Definitely was a great move up front for your team there, Andrew. You and Adam worked very well along with your other teammates throughout the race. I mean, you guys showed how much speed y'all had at Daytona, here at Talladega with the cars, of course, and also week in and week out. How tough is it when you guys were out back riding out there, just kind of hanging in there? Because I'm sure with those fast race cars, you want to go pretty quick.
Yeah, it gets a little hairy back there sometimes, as I'm sure you can appreciate. Just I think when people are back there, no different than when they're up front or in the middle of the pack, but just I don't know whether it's you're not quite paying attention all the time. You're not 100% focused. You're just kind of thinking, I'm just riding safe, kind of staying on the staying in the draft. Don't lose a draft, but at the same point, you might get a little squirrely into the corners, and it's just one little mistake back there can, a couple things, either cause a wreck that's going to ruin your race or somebody else's, or you're going to fall off the draft, and then next thing you know, you could be a lap down. So it's tricky being at the back. And you really got to stay focused and stay committed and be patient. I mean, want to do what the Toyotas did a couple weeks ago, that's for sure. So in real life, could have a wreck on their own, right? But yeah. So, but it all worked out. I mean, I do feel for a couple of the fellas. I know Gary and Nick and Kev, they all kind of got caught up there, and Kev avoided a caution. Had to miss the wreck. He had to shoot down pit road. The rules are that we get the black flags cleared for that reason. However, he still had to start at the end of the longest line because of the pit road entry, which put him in a disadvantage. So I think he probably would have been up there with us otherwise. But still, I mean, 1-2 finish. I mean, I think this is a number of super speedways now in a row where the team has been able to bring it home. So pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, the team has been very strong at these super speedways. We look at the other races, Andrew, with Kevin Thompson not having the run that he was hoping for, kind of helps you chip away at the points gap and get a little bit closer. How much does a race like tonight kind of help you out looking forward, knowing that we got 6 more races left and you still have a chance for the championship?
Um, I think just getting through it unscathed. Even though Kevin fell off, he wasn't. He didn't have the best finish. Points wise, it's not going to be a big. It's going to be whatever it is. It's going to be 10, 15 points or less or 12 or whatever it is. But gain on him, but significant point gap still. And I think I said it a couple weeks ago, unless I'm able to start knocking off a couple wins, it's really going to be out of reach. So 100% my goal is to be attempting to get some wins here on the home stretch. So, and if I can do that, then I think I have a chance to try to be competitive with Kevin at the end.
Well, we cannot wait to see how this end of the season run goes for yourself, Andrew. And before we officially let you go, if there's any more shout outs, the floor is now yours.
Yeah, thanks guys for the great broadcast. A lot of fun watching it, and I'm looking forward to going back and watching some of the replays of this one. And to Daniel in the league, it was a lot of fun, good fun racing tonight. It was nice to kind of get back on that side of not having too many cautions. I mean, super speedway, we're going to get them right, but for the most part, it was a pretty good run tonight. And thank my teammates here, Twisted Axle, and then of course Beast Mode Performance. That's where work together, with a lot of those guys on a regular basis, and they're a big part of the success. So yeah, and thanks to the caller, to the fans, and to BMAC for watching again tonight.
Well, that will be your second place finisher here tonight, Andrew St. Cour. Congratulations on the second place finish. Enjoy it as a team victory, and good luck next week at Dover.
Thank you.
As we move from second place, we go down to third. The driver that missed out on last week's race, but comes back with the surgence. We got Michael Hayes with us in the 22. Michael, congratulations on third. I know you probably wanted a second chance to try to run down the teammates of Twisted Axle, but how are you feeling coming away with a third place finish here tonight?
Yeah, thanks. It was a fun race. I'll take third, but man, I was really hoping that race would end under green. So close to the line.
Definitely was close to being to that line, like you said, to get that white flag, and would have had another opportunity there to get back around for one more lap and see what you had there, Michael. But still, nonetheless, after last week, I think a great points night for you, because the gap grew after last week, of course. Now, with Kevin Thompson having his troubles here tonight, how big a finish is third for you?
Yeah, it sucks I couldn't make last week. I had to leave early the next day, so I decided to not race and not make myself miserable for the next day. But yeah, I mean, obviously a good points day. Sure would have liked to have a chance to get that win tonight, but all in all, I can't be too mad with a third place.
It's not too bad of a third place. Also helps when Kevin Thompson, the points leader, has an off night. We now are heading towards Dover and Kansas, the next 2 races. How do you feel like these next couple of races are coming up? Do you feel like you still have a chance to fight back for a championship run, even with missing last week?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Dover. It's just hard to stay out of trouble there. If I can stay out of trouble, I feel like I'll do pretty good there. And I love me some Kansas, so these next 2 tracks are feeling good about them.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform at these next couple of ones, Michael. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any more shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to the team as always, Ghost Motorsports, even though I don't have anybody racing with me tonight, which kind of sucked, but shout out to the team. Shout out to the league. That was some incredible racing there throughout the race. A lot of 3 wide action. Very fun. And then I always appreciate you guys broadcasting it.
Well, thank you for giving us a great show to cover. That will be your third place finisher in the 22 machine of Michael Hayes. Congratulations on third, Michael, and good luck trying to stay out of trouble next week at Dover.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too. As we move down from third place, we fall to fifth, where we find the 36 machine of Harrison Whitehead and get to hear from Harrison himself and how maybe his team was feeling after tonight's run. Harrison, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Congratulations on a top 5 finish. I would imagine this isn't where your team was hoping for all of you guys to finish, but how are you feeling coming away with a top 5 finish for yourself?
I'm pretty happy with it. Our street limit Ford Mustang was really fast today. We had a great setup. We had a great game plan. We just, it's Talladega. A lot of these races get flipped on their head in the end, and unfortunately, my teammates just came out on the short side of it. But I was very happy with the top 5. It's one of my best finishes this season, so definitely can't complain.
Definitely was a great run, like you said there. One of the best runs of the season for you. I think, one position lower than what you finished at Atlanta. So a similar style race there, able to pull out off for yourself. So congrats on that, Harrison. But you guys pulled off an excellent job in that pit sequence. Got really out far to that lead. With you and Raymond. How tough was that to see that it was only you two though with that big of a gap?
Yeah, we we got a little unlucky there. Our third teammate, I think, took a little bit too much gas. I'm not really sure what happened, but yeah, we were pulling away. We were looking at the times and we were like, holy cow, we're actually pulling on these guys with 2 cars. And then I got hot and we just start managing it and they just caught us. But that was our plan. We were going to kind of try to short pit the field because we knew our 3 cars, when they were tandem up drafting, were pretty quick and it was going to be tough for the field to catch us.
Well, Harrison, as a team, it was awesome to watch you guys perform so well up front throughout tonight's race. What is the goal for yourself, though, with these last 5 races of the season? Was these next 2 going to be Dover and Kansas before we have a 2-week break?
Hopefully we can get another good top 10 finish. We're definitely not the fastest team, but we're new, we're learning, we're getting better setups. So hopefully top 15, top 10. I really like Kansas. Kansas is a fun track. I love the progressive banking of that track. It's a lot of fun, and I'd really like to do well there. So hopefully we can get some good finishes in the season.
Well, we hope the same for you and your team, Harrison. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any more shout-outs.
I'd like to thank Walt at Laugh and Llama Paints for making our paints. They're awesome. I'd like to thank Raymond Hanneman for organizing us, getting our team ready, and Street Limit as a whole. Appreciate everything they've done for us. They gave us a fast car today. I wish we all could have gotten top 10s. We definitely had the car to do it, if not win it. But can't complain.
Well, that will be your 5th place finisher here tonight in the 36 machine of Harrison Whitehead. Congratulations, Harrison. Enjoy this and good luck next week at Dover.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
As we move away from our interviews, we get ourselves prepared to take a look at our unofficial results here tonight as we went into overtime for the 6th race this season. And for 2 weeks in a row, the race finishes under yellow as our winner. Going to be the same winner that we had back at Daytona, grabbing his 2nd win of the season. Adam Garner in the 56 machine finds himself in the victory lane. 2nd place, we'll find ourselves with the 12 machine of Andrew St. Cours. But as the teammates finish 1 and 2, it's really a scatter of all the other drivers that could get up as quickly as they can before the yellow flag came out, with 3rd place being Michael, going to be that of Michael Hayes, then Steven Minomo taking 4th. 5th, we find Harrison Whitehead. Chris Lethwich able to recover after his spills throughout the end of the race, up to 6th. 7th is the 5 machine of Hunter Simpson for a great recovery run after he's missed the last couple of weeks. Phil Gentry, who is a very strong car, up inside of our top 5 all night long. He'll come away 8th. Michael, that with Daniel Wilkerson, the 78, will take 9th, and Richard Leclerc going to take that final 10th place position.
And looking through the rest of the order there, you're going to see points leader Kevin Thompson back in 16th position. So good chunk of points lost to Michael Hayes and Andrew St. Cours. We'll see how that works out. Last week's winner, Brandon Feder, placed 1 position behind him in 17th. You also have Nicholas Atwood going to fall all the way down to 25th after that major wreck with him. He was a major top 5 points player. Now going to be losing major points by getting that 20th place finish. So as you look through the rest of the board, there's some drivers that ended up their day in a record, it seems like, at the end of this thing. And it's tough saying when you leave Talladega because anything is possible, but you know when it's over, it's usually either you're elated and happy with it, or you're usually upset.
It's always a blink of an eye when everything can change for your race, and it certainly did for some drivers. But tonight, certainly a special one for Adam Gardner and that Twisted Axle team, as it didn't really seem like whatever strategy they wanted to throw out, it was going to work out for themselves to be up front. But this will finish out our week of broadcasts, as next week when we come back, we've got ourselves playoff racing action on Monday night for the ISRC Larry Arm Productions Truck Series. If you like super speedway racing, well, get your style of racing at Atlanta in the trucks, being the first race in the first round. And then after that round, they go to Bristol. This first round of 16 is going to be a tough one on Monday night. Tuesday and Wednesdays are off, as their seasons have come to a conclusion just a few weeks ago. And then Thursday, we're right back here next week. Dover, I mean, that's going to be one of the tougher tasks of the season, with the Concrete Monster Mile just waiting to take the clutches of somebody.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch for sure, Sam. That Monster Mile, man, I tell you what, it's a tricky one. I ain't figured it out, and I'm sure these drivers, they're going to have a long week ahead of them trying to figure out how to make their cars drive better around that monster of a place.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're also going to be taking a look at how the EU NASCAR Coke Series maybe raced at Dover, because they gave us a thrilling show about how to run that track, but also how tough it can be to run at Miles the Monster. But for tonight, thank you so much to everyone that joined us. I know there was a huge crowd of people that love super speedway racing, and it was the Twisted Axle teammates stealing the show at the end in overtime. Here for us tonight, it was certainly a special one to cover. But for us here this evening on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us on your Thursday night. As we will take the weekend off, we'll be back Monday night for the ISRC Truck Series, and then we're right back here next Thursday at Dover. Cannot wait for more racing coverage. But if you can't wait until Thursday, don't worry. Monday is the start of the playoffs for the Truck Series. You do not want to miss it. We're taking those trucks to the Atlanta Super Speedway. You don't want to miss it. It will be our next Freaky Fast broadcast.